up on a snowy Thursday in Jersey. Very, very special fired up episode today. We are here on LinkedIn Live, YouTube, Facebook, and also in Fed Nation. Fed Nation, welcome to the live session, Fired Up. And if you are in the Fed group, please make sure you give StreamYard permission to comment, and we can see your name so we know who we're talking to. And you can do that by clicking the link. Is there a link there?
Yes, there's a link.
There's a link, so you can click that. So without further ado, we're gonna get into this episode. As you can see, we got the snow behind me, we got the fire behind me. There's snow behind me because it's snowing in Jersey. We're in the middle of getting 8 to 10 inches here again. It is what it is. I'm not fired up about that. I'm fired up about the guests that we have here. We have Taz Sutherland, the man, the myth, the legend of this industry. Unbelievable. Representing Fed gear as always. I love it. Taz, he's an OG. For the 3 or 4 people watching that don't know who you are, just give a quick 10-second rundown on who the hell you are.
Yep, Taz Sutherland. As of this year, we've been representing Walmart for 20 years in the maintenance industry. I recently, in the last 5 to 6, represented them really heavily in the hot food side industry. I did refrigeration and building controls before that. Super passionate about the food service industry and kind of the people and being part of making a difference in the community. That's why I've locked in with Fed because let's disrupt some things and let's get into this new century.
Yes, I love it, man. So you've been probably seeing some of the lives that I'm doing and some of the things I'm fired up about. I'm super fired up lately about the manufacturer partnerships with service companies. How we work together with the OEMs, right? Super fired up about these warranty service calls that we run on and the time deductions and the kind of dictatorship that has been going on for far too long. And I think the tables are going to begin to turn. And that's why I wanted to start the conversation, because I want to make it a positive. I don't want anyone to think I'm trying to make this a negative or I'm angry. I want to talk about it, because if we just continue to be quiet, nothing. The old saying, nothing changes. So I don't know we can take this anywhere. So I'll let you get going, and we'll see where this goes. Go ahead.
Yep. So my biggest thing is where I want to spin it. Where I'm sitting, I'm the FM, right? So I'm sitting between the customer and the service rep, or I'm sitting between the customer and the OEM. Sometimes I'm in the middle of all 3 of them fighting over another hour of labor or a part that they're like, hey, I Googled this part. It says it's $300. They're charging me $400. And, I constantly have to explain, look, that's a markup. They brought it to your site. They ordered it. They shipped it. They brought it to your site. So that extra $100 is, you didn't Google it and ship it to your site and then them show it up and hang it. That's a whole different ball game, and it's one you don't want to get in on, right? And so the biggest thing we have to learn, like how we're going to really start to understand why we have these frustrating problems with, the OEMs want a nickel and dime here on a labor charge here, and the service needs to charge us extra because we had to get out of the way because they're cooking in the middle of the day. And the customer's like, why is it so much? We have these questions that keep coming around, and there's a lot of it focuses on clear communication channels. So that customer, like what gets fired up with me about it is the customers that don't understand the machine. I'm not blaming them, right? The OEMs, the service techs, the FMs, like I got a part in this as well. Like I'll own my piece of the fault in this. We were really terrible at explaining to the customer that machine is a commercial machine. So the second you turn it on, you fire it up, there's a maintenance cost that comes behind that with it. Now, you want to reduce that maintenance cost? Here's 5 things that will reduce that. Here's 10 things that'll make you'll get 5 more years out of it. We don't do that. The OEMs don't do that. The service techs actually do it really well, but here's the problem with the service techs doing it. They're out there when that machine's down. So that manager, that restaurant owner is already pissed all to hell, so they're not listening, right? The person that could probably save them millions over the course of a restaurant's career, they're not listening to because that machine's down and they're frustrated. So now the machine's back up, and then they get a bill a week later, and they're like, oh my God, he was here for 2 hours. Like, why is it $1,200? Why is it $13? I get these questions all the time. The customers just don't have a solid understanding of why these machines cost so much. And the OEMs are good at selling machines. The OEMs have to be better at telling their customers and getting them to understand that total cost of ownership. And a lot of times you hear me relating this to buying a truck. For example, I bought a truck. I have a truck out in my front yard, right? It's a half-ton basic truck. The reason I have that is the amount of times I need a pickup truck in my life, that does just fine. Now, I would love to have that cool big diesel that can pull a super massive trailer, but I also know that the difference between the alternator on the truck in my driveway and that big cool truck is about $1,200. So I'm not willing to spring for that because I don't really need it. And so customers that have these big fancy ovens and they just bake cookies with it, it's like we need to have real conversations with them so they understand it. Now, if you need a fancy combi oven because you're doing croissants in the morning and sous vide overnight and smoking ribs midday and air fried pizzas and all this crazy stuff, that's great. You need to understand that comes with a cost. You need to have real conversations with your service people and with your OEMs and with an FM. And I'll tell you right now, if you want to have an open conversation without brands and without service managers and anything like that, just on how that works and some real questions to ask people that I guarantee you not only OEMs but service managers would appreciate, find somebody like me that knows the business and have them walk you through those questions, right?
Yes.
I just want to bring
is not PM, right? Because sorry, Lisa, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to bring in some comments for you guys to, we have some discussion here on this. Just going to show up. Josh, he says, oh man, this is going to be good. Let it rip, gents. Don't hold anything back. So we have, this is Dan Diebler. And just, this is a great reminder. If you're in the Fed group and you want the comment to show up your name, just give them permission on the StreamYard link. But anyway, he said, forgot on our call yesterday, discussed after all the other issues, getting paid on time for manufacturers is always an issue on the back end of everything else. Holding huge balances 30, 60, 90 days.
100%.
Most of us won't install customer supplied parts, too much liability.
Yep.
So Roger Smelser also wants to add, fixed price contracts avoid all of this. Many of our customers like them.
I was up to say.
We have more than enough data to make it efficient and beneficial for all parties. Then to your point, Taz, Sean Collett says, I agree, needs to be a better understanding of cost ownership, would really help set expectations.
Yep. And that's the thing, right? If the customer understands that, I get a ton of calls. And I was talking to Lisa just a little bit, Lisa and Rich just a little bit. One of the things I'm running for Walmart right now is avoidable service calls. And we spend so much money on service calls that really don't need to happen if the customer just understood some basics of the machine. And that doesn't mean that you need to have a magic toolkit in the back and you need to know how to break the machine down. But I can tell you 5 things on a combi oven to kind of run down a checklist before you pick up the phone and call that service tech. On a slicer, I can tell you on a hot case, on a bakery oven, I can tell you all these things. We're so geared these days to just put in a service ticket, put in a service ticket, put in a service ticket. And I hear it from the techs all the time, right? They spend a lot of their time. They'll drive 2 hours. My fellow's out in, Dylan Taylor, he's probably watching. He's out in Texas. He'll tell you about driving from one end of Texas to the other to show a store how to sharpen a Bazurba slicer. Like, that's easy. Like, you don't need a service tech for that. That is, and then you want to cry to me about the bill for $250, $350, $450. He drove 2 hours to show you how to sharpen it. Like, why didn't you do that yourself? And then, so these conversations, the customers, and again, like an FM in my spot, I need to be having these conversations with the customers and going, look, these are some things, and that's what we're doing right now. Like, Walmart's taking a big initiative in the maintenance division to do these sort of things, right? So that when we do call in a service technician, it's a real problem, right? And the flip side of that, right, is to feed that information to the technician, right? So when you get a ticket, right, the technician now has this kind of data. So store went through these 7 things. It still displays this error code. It still does not do this. It still doesn't do this. So that technician is going to go, oh, I know what that is. That's the widgets backfiring into the warp coil, right? and he's going to go, actually, I have that part back at the shop, and I'll be swinging. So I'm going to swing by. So now they've just saved their company money because they didn't have the part on the truck, but they know they might need that. So now we've avoided the trip charge. There's all of these things. If we just talk to each other and had real conversations, that would avoid that. And there's all of those other things that have to happen as well, right? Like not paying for 30, 60, 90 days. That's got to stop. Like that's like realistically, this is 2021. If you agree to a net 30, and even if you agree to a net 90, I don't know why you would agree to a net 90. That's insane. But lock in one of those. When you go to the table with your contract, lock in a 30, a 45, or 60. 60 is kind of out there. I know a lot of companies can't really deal with a 60. I know Walmart can deal with a 120, but Walmart, like, we're huge, so like that's a whole different conversation, right? But lock that in, and don't let them budge on it. And because what ends up happening is that I'm the one that kind of I get caught in the middle of that. I've seen it before, right? We've had plenty of companies walk away from jobs from us because the warranty provider, they're like, look, we haven't been paid from them for 6 months, so I'm not losing any more money servicing your stores. And they're forced to tell the customer that, which forces the customer to go to the OEM. And realistically, does anybody really want to be in the middle of that? No, nobody wants to be in the middle of that. So that's what I'm fired up about.
We got lots
talking to each other, having these.
Yeah, we're generating some comments here, and I'll just say real quick, talking about the understanding the cost of ownership. It's kind of broken in the sense that there's so many pieces to the puzzle. And I sat at a table with a rep that was trying to looking to sell a combi oven, and I'm there. The rep is there. The chef that's going to do like the demos there. The dealer's not there. So we're sitting at the table. They're going, oh well, Rich, when are you going to come and install? And I'm like, well, I don't know when we're going to install. We're going to do site survey. But first, and John, the guy's like, oh, you gotta purchase the unit first. Well, so you gotta talk to him to purchase it. Well, no, you gotta go to the dealer actually, but you're gonna talk to him to spec it in, and he's you're gonna purchase it from him, and then they're gonna come in and do a site survey, and then we're gonna do the install. And then, okay, what about me? That's you. There's so many friggin' pieces to this puzzle, and I think customers at this point in the game, from my viewpoint, they're just confused and they're frustrated. I have some frustrated customers calling saying, why couldn't we just call you from the beginning? Why are we talking to these other people? And I'm like, listen, I don't know. This is the way. This is how it is. But we're here now. We need to figure out a way to better communicate in each of our markets, right? This is not like it's not so hard when you look at it from a national level. It's like, how the hell do we do this? Well, we're all in our own respective market. I have to take the initiative to speak to my reps and dealers. They have to do the same thing. We should be having meetings and discussions on how we're going to make it easier for the end user, because we want them to keep buying the equipment. So this is a big communication thing, and there's just a lack of knowledge being in the field on the sales part of it, because like you said, we get there. These customers, they don't, sometimes the equipment they bought, like you said, you just bought a $40,000 oven and you're going to just do cookies all day? Well, you probably should have looked into maybe a Joy-On baking oven or something, something that's just going to do that and be the workhorse you need. But so sometimes the people get stuff, like I said, the cost of ownership, and not just the cost of ownership, but we get in there for the installation, and all of a sudden we tell them, well, listen, you're going to need an electrician to do this, you're going to need a plumber to do this, and now it's like another $8,000. Like, whoa, I didn't know about this. Mm-hmm. No one's even discussing, like, hey, listen, just so you know, we're selling you this oven, but there might be a bill coming before you even get the oven in here. There's so many things that need to be discussed. Fired up about all this stuff. Lisa's got a bunch of comments. Let's roll through some comments and let
All right. So Dan Diebler, again, to your point, guys, everyone knows when they buy a car, they need an oil change every 5K miles or so. So end users should know at point of sale what type of PM program their equipment should need. It's exactly what you guys are saying. Connie Power, shouldn't your service scheduler be somewhat trained in those basic 5? Get them up immediately. Do you guys have thoughts on that?
So when you say service scheduler, I mean, I guess we have our service manager, we have dispatch, I have myself in the office. So when we're talking like the basic get 'em up stuff, yes. So when a customer, especially when you hear those things that you hear over and over again, first you get a call in the morning. big chain account, right? Hey, Rich, listen, my fryers, none of my fryers are like this. Okay, did you check the gas? Oh, we checked the gas. Okay, did you plug this in? We go through that. We get there, and it turns out we still had to turn the gas on because the night crew came in, they cleaned, they shut off the gas, and that's why your whole line wouldn't light. So sometimes you walk through it, and people on the other end, the customer is in such panic mode and they're busy, they just tell you what you want to hear, I think. And they're like, yeah, we checked it, just come. So, yeah, I mean, we definitely do go through that. I'm sure Taz can answer. I'm sure he's going through. I know Taz is running down things.
Yeah, well, and what'll happen on our end, you have to remember, so what happens, like, scale it out to Walmart, what ends up happening, so our ticket, so everything's automated, right? So they punch up, and they punch in an automated ticket, and it comes through a system. So then by the time it gets out to the company, then they have to find somebody to call at the store. And I don't know if any of you ever tried to call Walmart and get a hold of anybody, but it kind of runs into this problem of figuring out. So a lot of times service techs just find it easier to roll on out the store. So yeah, your service scheduler can take care of a lot of those problems in a smaller environment. It's near impossible in a Walmart. So that's what we have to kind of get to. Did I lose you, Rich? Oh, there you go.
I was here the whole time.
The camera got overheated.
Oh, okay. You're good.
We're so fired up in here.
But yeah, good. But that's it. They're absolutely right. Your scheduler should be dealing with that and should be trained in that. But in a big corporate world, by the time the ticket gets around, it'll be an hour or two later. And so that person may have put that ticket in before they went home for the day. So Rich was like, "Hey, the fryer is making a fun." Like that's what I'm talking about. The customer giving us some kind of detail. Rich is like, "Hey, the fryer was making a funny noise," and then, Rich is like, "Hey, boss, I'm leaving for the day," and like, "Hey, did you put the fryer ticket in?" "Sure did, boss." "All right, see ya. Oh, by the way, don't forget I'm on PTO now, so I'll see you in a week." And so now the scheduler's calling, going, "Hey, is Rich there?" "No, you just missed him. He just went on vacation." And and I guarantee you somebody's gonna light up the comments and go, "I do this all the time with Walmart." "Oh, you do?" I know, and I know somebody just got fired up because they're like, "I hate calling Walmarts to get somebody in the deli telling me what's going on with their stupid rationale, Friado, whatever, right? Like whatever. I'm not naming name brands to call them out, but that's our top models that we have constant tickets that we tear up, and not, we like to kick the doors out of the Frijados and plug up the rationales and catch the giles on fryer. We're pretty good at we're pretty good at, well, we're pretty good beta test ground, right? Like we're pretty good at if you want to see how your equipment will really do in a commercial environment, let me know. We'll figure out how to test your stuff, because we've got some people that can very creatively tear up equipment.
So Joseph Clark comments, "I consider my techs to be responsible to educate our customers on how to prevent these unnecessary calls."
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, our techs are out there. They know the equipment best, honestly. And I mean, your best guys, your senior techs are going in there every single time. They're going to probably let that customer know, by the way, when you're doing this, make sure you run this cleaning cycle, do all these different things that you should be doing. They're definitely doing it, but that's we're only there for this much of the day, the month, the week. So you tell Sue on Tuesday, Sue, like you said, Sue might go on vacation and she didn't tell nobody. Sue she quit, she left, and now so it's what it's one of those things.
All right, I got a good one comment for you. Craig says, "This is exactly what I'm trying to do now that I'm on the sales side. Example, I have been trying to get a customer to buy 2 separate pieces of refrigeration equipment instead of 1 large piece. If it goes down, you still have a backup. It prevents an overtime call and loss of sales and/or money from product going bad from being completely down."
Yeah.
Brand uptime. That brand uptime. He's not kidding, Craig. You have to sell on that brand uptime, because here's the deal: if they corner you on that big piece, they're going to come back in a year, I guarantee you, and be like, "Craig, why'd you let me buy the one big piece?" I hate that. Customers do it to me all the time. It was like I was talking about. You buy that big oven, and all you ever do is bake the cookies. You bought a $40,000 oven, and all you do is bake cookies. Let me tell you something. Get yourself a Hobart, a Baker's Pride, or whatever. Get you you can buy 2 regular convection ovens for half or less that, and then one went out. I've still got one, and your service guy's like, hey, look, there's snow on the ground. I can't get there till Tuesday. No problem, Rich. We'll see you when you get here. No worries, right? And everybody's still happy. We have to figure out how to. And like I said, the FM zone, I own a piece of that just like everybody else, but we have to collectively and just the other comment about educating the customer. You're right. And there are tons of technicians that are out there doing that 100%. And I love that they do that. Right now, we're rocking, I don't know, we have a high turnover rate in our delis. So you may educate Taz today on how to operate that fryer, and Taz may throw his badge at his manager tonight and go work for Lowe's. So, I mean, we fight all these, this is the crazy food service world. And I don't know, maybe that's what gets me fired up and it's kept me around for 20 years. But I mean, I don't know. I think there's so much intelligence, even in just the 700, 800 members we've got so far in Fed Nation. I think we can figure out a better way to do this.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing. We're talking about it. We're going to put things in motion. We got the Food Equipment Service Leaders Summit that's going to be coming, which we're fired up about. We're going to have a lot of topics that we're going to be really driving home, and we want to leave there with actionable items. So I know that this group, this community, we're gonna get things going. We're going to invoke change. We're going to create it. What do you have any more comments?
Just to wrap it up, because I'm going to be the producer, Lisa, now. You guys seem to be having a good time and loving the passion conversation. That is it.
Yes. So, I mean, listen, I'd love to do more of this with you, Taz. So we'll have Lisa reach out maybe at least once a week if you want to jump on a Fired Up with me. I'm down for that. You lost me again.
Can you still hear us though, Taz?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can still hear you. So maybe that's a good time to cut it. Put some more comments in there. Y'all know how to get me on Facebook and find me on LinkedIn as well. I think everybody knows how to get a little Rich. If you've got some more comments on this, do it. Get fired up about it. If you've got an idea, let's run with it.
I'm back, and I got one more
question. I see you, Rich.
You see it? Hi, Rich and Taz. Thoughts about creating a resource center. Videos for how to fix issues that keep coming up for your customers. Ryan, amazing. And stay tuned to thefedgroup.com. We are going to have videos for days and days and days on stuff just like this. It's going to be all about Fed. You lost me again, but you can hear me. So it's going to be all about the Fed membership going forward and what the Fed membership includes. And there's going to be a lot of videos to that nature. So yeah, and I'm sure we're going to be tackling all of these things. Boom.
Back up.
All right. We had to change cameras. I'm back. So Taz, your thoughts on that? I mean, I think you're all about that.
Yep. Fired up. Let's make some positive change. 2021 and to 2031. Let's see what we can do for the next 10 years. And I think we've got a golden ticket, and let's get it. Let's light some stuff on fire.
We are gonna. So I think we're gonna wrap this one up. We have some other things we're gonna go jump on doing. We'll probably see Taz again. We're gonna lock him in next week sometime. And if you want to be on an episode of Fired Up, you got something you're fired up about, doesn't matter what it is. Reach out to me, Lisa. We'll schedule you, and we'll chop it up. So for Fed Nation, for myself, for Taz Sutherland, we'll see you on the next episode of Fired Up. Have a beautiful day, beautiful week.